Alright, if you found this video, thank you for watching. I'm going to give you a quick overview of why I'm doing this video. So the other day, and this was released on the 24th, I had some spare time looking around YouTube, found a Element TD Dota 2 guide by WePlay-WeFail. Now, it's 27 minutes long, it's quite long, I'm not going to play it in this, but when I was watching it, this is their first time playing the game. They played it on hard, and they played it on rush with all random elements. Now, one thing I don't like about this is they call it a guide, but it didn't say anything. No, there's no text or speech to actually explain what they were doing. They did start with composite, which I don't agree with. And even though I'm not going to say bad about this video, particularly, it had 325 views in 4 days, 2 likes, 2 dislikes, and there was some not good comments on it, such as never upload videos like this, and this was don't call this shit a guide, wasted my time. I feel like it needs, like, for those of you who are getting into Element TD because you saw it on the front of Dota on your arcade, and you're like, oh, you know, that looks fun, because it is almost popular. I want to do a few things to help you out, because I've only been playing for maybe 2-3 days myself. Haven't been playing too much. I've been watching a few videos, people like Sing Sing, and just random guides like this, just what everybody does, because not everybody does everything the same. Now, luckily, they did just do a recent update where they did sandbox mode, and what I really love is the toggle grid. Now, this will help people find their own methods, ways they want to win themselves. But if you start off a game, let's say all pick, and you're not sure what element to start off with, personally, I recommend water, fire, or earth. Why? Because they have AoEs. You have earth at 200 and 400, fire at 150, 300, and water at 100, 200, which means this has less AoE, a little bit more, and the most. Of course, this is the slowest, this is right in the middle, this is the fastest, but in the same, to keep it balanced, this is the most damage, this is the least. I prefer starting with either water or fire, because you could start off with earth, it does amazing, but once its opposite element comes in, nature, which I do believe is round 5 or 6, it just can't compete. But whereas if you do fire, wave 2 is actually water, but they're so weak at wave 2 that the fire still kills through them, and you don't have to worry about them for a while until you get your next element up wave 5, and you can change. Water is also really good, because dark doesn't come to, I think, round 7, so you can get the other element and upgrade, or, which actually, sorry, let me start over. You can upgrade or get another element to fight the dark by round 7. Now, for a moment, show you, if you got light, set the wave to 1, spawn the wave. Now, light doesn't have splash attack. It can attack one at a time, but it's eventually going to fall behind, because even though it has incredible range, the damage is one hit start, not overly good. It's 100, decent, but attack speed just doesn't allow it to catch up. And so you're not going to get that speed bonus as well as if you did fire. Spot wave. See? And the splash attack from fire, even though it's weaker, but a lot weaker, can still tear through the waves. And so you're finishing this wave much sooner. It was less difficulty. And speed bonus is much higher, so better score. Now, like I was saying before, earth is just as good. Earth's a bit more, but that splash attack, it's massive. It wrecks. But, let me see, I think it's 5. Set wave. Yes, 5. No, not 5. What am I thinking? Screenshot. Set wave. I need to find it. I'll find it. No worries. dominant? Yeah. Wave 4. What are we thinking? Okay, so wave 4 is when Earth comes. I mean, oh my god, nature comes. Makes Earth very tough. And it's undead at that. So even though it has great splash, you can't do anything. They'll tear through your defenses. That's why I do not recommend Earth at start, because you can't get your next element till round 5. Even if you do kill them all, because you bought a second Earth tower per se, you had the money, or you bought some composite towers, your speed clear just won't be there. Now, next, I'm probably gonna do water. Actually, I'll do dark to show you why not to get dark at the start. Yeah, you can see why this is not the best choice from the start. Okay. Stop clear. Where's next slot? Full health, there we go. Okay. So you can do dark, but I would not recommend it. It's super strong. 180, strongest tower of the 6 elements. In terms of attack damage, to clarify. But attack speed so slow, everything kind of passes by. That's why I do not recommend dark at start. Okay. Now, Earth. Why am I saying Earth? Nature. I'm gonna mess up with this rate, guys. Now, decent damage and attacks really fast. So yeah, you could pick nature in the start. The problem is fire is round 3. So let me finish this. Clear, stop. And the range of nature is not that big. Eventually you're gonna have troubles. So, I would highly suggest water, fire, because even with fire, and you do wave 2, which is where water comes in. You set and you spawn the wave. They're so weak at the start that even though it's fire, you can still go through them. Oh, it's actually spawned doubles. Okay. That's not what I want. Stop everything. Actually not clearing it. Interesting. Doesn't really matter. Set wave. So yeah, wave 2. It's water. So you can still chop through them, because at level 2 they're so weak that the elemental difference isn't that big. You still get a decent speed bonus. So if not fire, I would do water, because you don't have to worry about dark to wave 7, I do believe. Let me set that way. Yeah, and this will be the only time, but by then you should have your mango and I want to think lumber, so you can get a different element. Now, I have tried a few strategies, and of them I've done earth plus fire plus dark. Why? Fire at the start, really good. Level 2, second element, you can pick up dark, and then later pick up earth. You don't need every element, because dark will counter water, which counters your fire towers. Your fire towers counter nature towers, counters earth towers. Your earth tower counters the light towers that counters your dark towers. So you really only need 3 elements, if you just want to do pure elements to do countering. Now, your tower table is really important, and I like to have your slows, such as your Muck Tower, your Roots, your Windstorm, and your Nova. Not so much Roots. Roots is rough to use, in my opinion. So I'll show you a little bit of how this will work. Set this at 1. I'm gonna spawn this wave. I'm gonna start the game. Show you how it goes. Now, I really want to say something. I'm not really sure what I want to say. What I've done before is have your slow towers here. This includes, like I said, your Muck, your Nova, your Windstorm, yeah, and your Roots on here. Because you can fit them in 4 slots. And then never forget your buff towers. That's your well, and that's your blacksmith. You can get blacksmith pretty well because with that fire, earth, dark build, you can get it with fire and earth. And you say, why fire and earth and not light, water, and nature? You can try it. But this has the most AoE, this has the fastest attack speed, and this does the most damage. This helps you power through those boss elements that you spawn every 5 waves if you're doing all picks. And this helps clear waves, and even though this falls off in the late game, does a great job in the early game. Yeah, and the fire tower helps destroy this undead nature army to start. It really does. Yep. So now you should be spawning an element, whatever element you pick. I'm gonna wait for this wave to start, then I'm gonna summon elemental level 1. Now, you might need to build a second tower, so like a second flame tower to help take out the dark elemental. But other than that, you should be good. By wave 5, you should have the money for 2, because usually by level 5 you're able to upgrade to Vapor Towers, which I like to do. Vapor Tower is really strong. Now, one of the first things I did when I started this game was I built here. What I did was I had a water tower. Why? Water is just as strong. Good range from here. And what I'm about to show you is spawn it. Start the game, please. Is that later turn to a Vapor Tower once I get fire. So let me take all this down a notch. Now, this is sandbox mode. Some of you guys might be wondering how to get to it. When you start your game, and you're in an arcade, you start it, get in here, make your own private lobby, set a password so we can get in, so you have to be playing solo. Once you get in, it'll be right up here, sandbox enabled. It's just a player test mode. You click it, it'll open it up, says loading assets, it'll load up the assets, and you can, pause the game, end the game, do your whole full list of controls right here. Now, other towers. Trickery is okay, because you can clone the tower, but the price it takes to make a trickery tower, you could just make another tower like it. Now, it's good for the higher end stuff, when it costs like 1,000 or 3,000 gold, trickery tower does the job. But one of them I liked was Life. Life, every few creeps killed by this tower heals you. And it's actually pretty good to get in the start, because the weird thing about Life is that it has no AoE, doesn't do that much damage, does target the lowest health, but it'll actually overheal you for over 50. And I can show you that here soon. Let me So in this case, yes. No helium. There we go. Now you're up to 51. What's interesting is they share their kills among each other. So yeah, that was really sloppy. That I just put those guys in like that. But they're actually shared because it globally shares the current kill counter as all life towers. That goes towards netting the heals for you, which is quite interesting. So yeah, if you had a good amount to start, and I actually had one where I had 4 over here, and I just net them as they go around. I did lose a lot of speed bonus, but it really helps. I wouldn't exactly recommend it, but it does help you tank the later waves when they will leak through. Alright, so that's life towers. Now you guys can check this all out yourself, figure out your own strategies, have fun with it, man. Just have fun with it. I'm going to put max elements in. Now let me remember what windstorm was. I think it's fire, yeah, it's fire. Actually, no, I probably should have showed that one. I mean, I'll clear everything, set this to wave 6. So, I love this tower. Once you get 5, well, I want to show you guys before, I'm really bad because I know I'm doing this in out of order, which should be tough for maybe many people to follow. Spawn 6. So that once you finish 5, you got your element. I like to go water fire. It's one of the first things I did. It's because the vapor tower does massive AoE damage. It does initial damage of 20, but then aftershocks to 20, another 20, to everyone around it. So each person it hits, so it'll only do 20. But then that AoE of 700, and an initial AoE of 350, the more people there are, if it hits 7 of them, you're looking about 140 AoE damage. It'll just clear them out. Now, of course, there are other options. I've tried the Zeus Tower before. Zeus Tower is quite nice. It's called Electricity Tower. Now, with that, you had to go fire to light. But that's just as strong. The Zeus Tower has more range than the Vapor Tower, but that's your choice between fire element and water element. Now, one of the things, because I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit here, and let me grab a little bit of everything here real quick. What's the last one? I know it's light fire water. Okay. Light fire. So yes. In the later waves, I'd like to have this because now you have 1 light, 1 water, 1 nature, 1 earth, and they're all slows. You're gonna really want slows. Those slows will help. This is gonna pretty much be the hub of where you're destroying everything, because this can get start and end. This will be where you have your slows. And what I like to have are Enchantress towers right here. And I can't even remember. Oh no, it's light, water, fire. Yes. I was wrong. Must have been. Oh, water, fire, earth. Water, fire, nature, sorry. Water, fire. Now why? Enchantress towers have incredible range. They can target all the way from the end, from the sides, to the bottoms, towards the start. From right here they have a great advantage. They're right behind the slow towers. And their range allows them to, because they always attack far as well, that would do a lot of damage. So let's start with 31. Now this is maybe a bit unfair because it's nature versus water. Actually, not one of them. Dark guild water. Sorry, I am a little bit new, so it gets confusing at times. The damage compared to this almost 5k, they're doing 3k hit, and their attack rate speed is quite nice. Means you can chop through waves a lot nicer with these pair. Now what I like to do is every 4 towers, you're going to want to put 1 water and 1 fire. Why? It's because you're eventually going to turn this into a well that's water nature, and you're going to turn this into a blacksmith that's fire and earth. This increases attack speed to 15%. This increases damage to 15. But it has a duration of 60 and a cooldown of 15, which means it can only affect 4 towers before the last tower gets runs out. So now you have all. It's prioritizing these. It tends to prioritize your strongest, but now your attack speed is much more, and your damage goes up from 3,000 to 35. And this is on composite where they take 90% damage from all elements. So the damage boost is quite nice, and for a cheap price. Unlike most tower upgrades, when it comes to well towers and blacksmith towers, they cost less to upgrade, about 300. And since they're support towers, they cannot receive buffs from other towers, so you don't need. So well towers will end up buffing your blacksmith towers by any chance. They'll only buff your damage towers. So yeah, Enchantress is good. If you ever upgrade them, and I have before, and get them to velocity towers, which are rather expensive, they do ungodly damage. But you know, that's saying if you can get to 2 water, 2 fire, and 2 nature, their damage numbers are quite high, as you can see. Of course, usually by then you're able to bring these from well to spring towers. Damage gets a lot higher. Now, I really like the erosion tower. I really like the enchantment tower. It amplifies the damage they take. Now, sadly, this one I think is a little bit better as a DOT, and has more amplification. Even though this says it would have more, 1545. That's only if they're alone, which is good for bosses, but not so good when you're fighting big masses of creeps, or if you're playing through a full game and not express or anything. You're fighting the damn ice frogs in the end, which I actually got to the ice frogs. Died on Ice Frog Wave 2, normal. They're just not good. I'll show you a little bit of what erosion's like. I do not recommend haste. Haste are not that good in my opinion. I have not tried ephemeral. It just doesn't sound really good. You lose damage. I don't know. Polar, I never tried polar because it burns for a percentage, but then they gain the health back. As says, autocast ability that temporarily burns away a portion of the target's current health. The target regains the health lost at the end of the duration minus percentage of the damage while frostbitten. So really they only lose 5% of max HP. You can't upgrade later for 15. And that does sound good against ice frogs, which gain increasing health per wave. But how many of those would you have to spam? And I don't think the effect stacks, so you'd have to spread them out among other damaging towers. Obliteration, a little ODs, I do not like these. Uh, the farther they shoot their projectile, the more splash they get. But most of the time, if they're gonna be slowed like here, you're not gonna travel very far, and it's just not gonna do that much AoE. Laser's another one. It shoots that laser, but has less damage when there's other creeps around the target. I do not like this one. Hail is kind of good versus Dark, because it usually shoots one target at a time, has decent attack speed, but it can at times shoot multiple targets. But I kind of prefer Nova still. My favorite has to be the Gold Tower though. Interest can give you a lot of gold from interest, but it's only 2%. And unless you're like really stashing it and like not caring about your score so much, I prefer the Gold Tower. Gold Tower does an amazing 4,000 damage at the start. I remember this being doing 3,500, but it looks like they must have buffed it. And early game, which you should get it at about round 15, if you want to do Fire, Earth, Light, yeah. Then you can start making investment from this. They actually lowered it. It used to be 30, 50, 60% bonus gold. Now it's 25, 50. Usually you... I guess that's decent. You do more damage, so it scales better. Like it does shit ton of damage anyways. So the point is, you can when it kills, because it'll always target that lowest HP. These guys will do all the initial damage. Heal slow. He goes in for the kill. All that gold eventually stacks up, and you'll get a lot more gold from this than from your interest. Don't look at that number. I just have a lot of gold to spend because that's sandbox mode. Now, eventually you can upgrade this more. Wealth Tower. That's where you really make money. 30. Let's see if you can get a kill somewhere. Yeah, he's getting 30 per hit. Per kill he kills, he's getting 30 gold. Before it was 15, now it's 30. Eventually I'll stack up to thousands, and I remember having a wealth tower in a game that had, I think about around 45, had made me around 7,000 gold, because I bought it as one of my first tower upgrades. 33, yeah, it'll really stack up money pretty fast. I do recommend the wealth tower, much more than interest. Because I was watching Sing Sing play, and he would make a bunch of light towers, and he was spamming these things. You know, he'd make, I don't know, 5 or 6. And he was playing this. And then right before interest would roll around, he'd sell it. Now they'd do their job, he'd sell it. He'd collect interest, and then he'd remake them all again. I don't like that because if you look at this, now it's actually just saying how much. Now it's just a new tooltips. It says Dota tooltip ability sell tower 75. It sells it for 75% because that's 157. I bought it for 175. The problems with this is I think you lose more gold unless you have a really big pocket of gold and a lot of towers to sell. You just lose. I think you lose more gold than you make from interest, because interest is only 2%. And on top of this, if you're in the later rounds, and you need a stronger towers, because the weak towers aren't that much anymore, you realize this takes a while to... Yeah, there you go. It'll take a lot longer to... Wow, that's a lot of damage. It takes a lot of time for it to build up, I guess is the right word. See what I mean? And then about that time, you've probably gone through your interest to get it. You're not going to sell it again. No, that would just be ridiculous. But if you want a really good way to invest your money, yes, wealth tower sit. Now, it wouldn't be spamming at the start, you know, a bunch of fucking arrow towers and cannon towers just to try to kill faster for speed, because your score won't be much if you can't get very far into the game. I would only do what you need to get decent investment returns to start, because it can make or break your game a little bit, but not that much. Until you get your wealth tower, which is what you really want, and you're making really good gold, which outdoes interest. And that was a good, clear display of how Enchantress towers you can clear waves that slip past your main defenses. Now, I'm gonna put down Water Dark, okay. I really like that Erosion Tower. It attacks not just one, but multiple at the same time, and it can stack that effect multiple times in a row. When you amplify all the damage take by 10, apply that damage per second multiple times. Now, damage application, as it says here, does not stack, but the DOT stacks. So when you can have like 5 stacks, you're doing 600 DOT a second for 5 seconds. 3,000 damage is quite nice, especially when it's actually being amplified by another 10%. So it's 3,300. Not including any of the other damage other towers do. As you're seeing, this is wave 49, and these are the towers I'm using. Admittedly, I have velocity towers. These are pretty high up, but I haven't upgraded this. I did upgrade these, but these aren't tough to upgrade. They're dual towers. They're really cheap. I did upgrade the wealth, which is kind of expensive, but more than plausible. So yeah, this is normal 50. These are Medusas, which get kind of annoying because they have a heal. But if you have slows here, the chances to do damage to start and then pick off anybody who gets through the amplification towers, you got a good mix of nature, light, earth, water, fire. Let you watch this a little bit, see how well this works. Oh, one got through. Yeah, Monsoon gets pretty. They must have upgraded range in that windstorm. This is actually Monsoon. Now, usually I'll end up upgrading Nova Tower because I'll have fire from these guys, nature from these guys, and usually I'll have this upgraded, which is Earth, Fire, Light, and so I'll have enough for Supernova Tower and Monsoon Tower. Usually not gold-wise, but element-wise, yes. Here I usually don't get high levels of Dark, so I usually never get to upgrade these two, unfortunately. Nor do I usually get to upgrade the Erosion Tower. But I'll show you that increased slow from 10 to 30 is really good. Now, it stacks with other slows, but they don't really take... Oh man, it keeps clicking the tornado and stuff, these guys. It doesn't actually stack with the same slow, but it stacks with just different slows. It stacks multiplicatively, so I wish it was additively. It would be much more strong. It would be much stronger, but I think Dota has it set up where units can't move under 100 unless they're limited. But slow-wise, I don't think they can move slower than 100. And I also suggest a huge amount of AoE. And what are some good AoE towers, in my opinion? If you get a high-level Vapor Tower, is really good. High-level Zeus Tower has good range, 1,150, and decent damage. Quake Tower's nice. It's only a 50% chance to deal that damage, but the AoE is quite strong. especially, and if you have a well and a blacksmith tower, that can do really good. Flamethrower. I always thought it was interesting. It stacks napalm, and then upon death, it deals damage in the area for each stack. It's stacked pretty high. Flooding tower's nice. Oh no, why was it? Yeah, flooding tower's nice. Tidal tower or Nagas. I don't really like the Nagas because it starts exchanging. At least AoE can get damage, but I just wanted AoE. This deals constant damage over time to creeps that pass over it. That's really cool because it leaves a trail of water as it tries to take out your wave. So let me show you a few of these, I guess. Let's see which one. Quark's really good too. It does actually AoE. Right click. And I'll show you the difference between. Let's do this. It should have enough for level 2 mist because you have Spring Tower, which is the water from that, and then fire from this. And let's throw in Zeus Tower. Zeus Tower is good as well. And then I'll just throw in Quake, I guess. That AoE really helps you get them down low. And the thing is, the Wells Tower doesn't do so much damage, and even though this 20k damage is really awesome, it's actually already made me it made me 3.5k, 3.5 gold now. Here's the Roshan's really nasty motherfuckers. I've died a few times just to these guys alone. But I would say, yeah, I would easily say one of the best setups I had is this. Had amplification and AoE towers here, wealth tower here to collect them in the end, and if they're low over here. My slow towers here, my buff towers right here, just in the setup. I've used the setup quite a few times, and then enchantress towers to help pick off. Usually I can't build any more than this. Usually I run out of gold by this point, even though my wealth tower makes you quite a bit. I usually can't make more than this. If I could, what would I recommend? Maybe a periodic tower, because it can do damage versus composite. I'm pretty sure the ice frogs are a composite. That you usually get enough elements. Is you get 1 of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, every 5 levels. Basically by 55, you get 11 elements, and there's 3 times 6, 18? Yes, 18. So, 11 of 18, you're missing out somewhere. Usually you can get about 2s in each, 2s in each is more possible because that's 12. Because you get 1 at the very start, so you can have 2 in each stat, or you can sacrifice and do 1s and a few and 3s and others. It's only why. That's why I usually don't get dark. I get 1 point to dark just for the ability. Because, 20% slow. How did I upgrade this? I don't know. What I was thinking. Oh, these aren't upgraded. I was just looking at that. I was thinking, man, these are 30 slow? The 10 from here. The 10 from here. 20. Just for 1 point into an element. Really good. Yes. Usually my end game looks something more like, let's take away all the dark, keep fire. I do believe this only takes Earth 2. So, there I usually don't need high duress either. think I need to get high on mine. I think my end game usually looks like something like that. Forget. Here's the atrocious ice frogs. With shields and haste. They are composite, yeah. So you could get a periodic tower, which I've done once. Get a nice little poker dude. Great damage. It's actually an AoE too. Not sure if I exactly agree that's the best. This is a lot of money. And that pure essence can be used for something else. Oh yeah, I'm dead. Holy shit, that's a lot. Oh well. So to give you a little bit of idea, because I don't, just to show you guys that I indeed did recently get on normal high up. Let me see. Yes. I did kill 41 ice frogs. I did play a solo game. This was before Sandbox. This was the other day. Good net worth, good total score, got to wave 56, and I had 2 light, 1 dark, 2 water, 2 fire, 2 earth, and 2 nature. And I know I just flip-flopped that around, but yeah, I got to Ice Frog wave 2 and killed 41 ice frogs. It works normal. I haven't tried it on hard, but I do believe it's a little bit better guide than what WePlay-WeFail made. I'm not gonna say anything wrong. Well, I'm not gonna say much bad about their guild. Their guide, wow, guild. Because I'm not the type of person to be talking bad about others. But now, first when they were making composite, I thought, wow, yeah, composite's 100% every element. And at the start, yeah, the first couple waves, it's decent, but the thing is, you can eventually have to sell them because the damage, they don't upgrade. And that 30, 35 damage they do, it's just not enough. So, even though this was new, if you're playing Element TD, because it's new, and I've actually been playing this since when it came out in StarCraft 2, and I'm pretty sure it came out in WoW as a mod, but I was playing it back, yeah, playing it back in StarCraft 2. Just go in, make your custom lobby, put in your password, you know, create it, do all that. Check out stuff yourself, figure out what you like, what you want to do. And hopefully this guide give you a little bit of idea of how maybe you want to set up your towers and what towers you want to buy. I prefer slow towers here, buff towers. Never forget your buff towers. They're really helpful. They're really cheap. They're really good. Enchantress towers are really strong, and I like to have my AoE or amplification towers here. There's another one which I didn't show you was Oracle. That's the one that does less amplification if there's more creeps. That's why I prefer the Erosion Tower. But I'll let you guys try it out yourself and figure out. You guys can tell me either what guides you prefer or what strategies you like to do. I'm not trying to give a solid, concrete strategy here. The reason being is it would get kind of boring if you just started Element TD, jumped on YouTube, found a guide, beat the game on very hard mode, and killed 100 ice frogs. Because that'd be no challenge. You know, it's kind of like relationships and dating. There's, you know how they always say, like, nice guys don't finish first. Because I was actually watching Swoozy, which kind of commenting off him, what he was saying. So yeah, if they don't have a challenge, then sometimes they just take you for granted. And if you got a game and you open it up, put it in as Swoozy says, and you got rolls credit screen, you're like, what the fuck? You're kind of like gonna toss it aside. So I'm not gonna try to make a concrete build here. Otherwise, Element TD wouldn't be fun. It would just be okay. I've beat it now. That's not cool. So, but I've given you ideas maybe strategies or different things you can think about to try on your own, mix, match, beat it, try to be the highest, make the strongest build yourself. But hey, I want to lend help, so this is what I had to say about it. And thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you guys found this helpful. I really don't care if you like or dislike, because it doesn't really matter to me. If I had a million dislikes, that'd actually be kind of funny. I wonder if YouTube deletes your shit if it gets too many dislikes. Who knows? Don't really want to figure it out though. I just hope this helped you guys. And yes, here's the new February 28 updates. You guys can read this yourself. I'm not gonna talk over it. There's no YouTube. And I guess once again, thank you for watching.